Welcome back. Today we're here at a really cool garage floor, and I know I don't do a lot of garages, but this guy said that we could do basically anything within reason. He gave us some colors, but we're gonna be doing a really 3D deep marble epoxy floor. So this will be like way cooler than any normal garage you're gonna see. We're gonna start out all of our jobs by profiling. So the first thing I always do, whether it's concrete, tile, wood, anything, like if you're working with wood, you have to sand it using an abrasive sandpaper, right? If you're using grinding into concrete or tile, you need to use diamond grinding tools. Does that make sense? So you grind your concrete and hard surfaces and you sand your soft surfaces, but all of them you need to profile, meaning I'm gonna cut any highs off, whether it's flakes of wood, high seams. I'm always gonna start out my wood subfloors, if this was an OSB subfloor, by running a swing buffer in here with like an 80 grit screen, and I'm just gonna sand off any like really rough, you know, transitions between the sheets and everything. Then I'm gonna fill my fractures, and then or joints and whatnot. We're gonna grind our highs, we're gonna fill our lows, we're gonna seal our slab, we're gonna prime for color, and then we're gonna run a top coat. So, in the top coat, I say a flood coat of epoxy, like our decorative coat. If you notice one thing I'm gonna do, this is an 18-inch head, but I'm only gonna bite off about 6 inches, and I'm gonna do that every time. I could just choke people sometimes when I see them do 18 and then 20 with a space in between and then 2 and then they zigzag. Just be patient, be consistent. It'll make your floor flatter. So now that this is moving, as I come up against my wall, I'm just letting the machine, keeping it moving. As soon as I stop, it makes a figure 8 in the floor because there's 2 big diamond wheels on there.
What do you do, just lean it back?
Yeah. Now when I get up to my wall, I just keep my head moving. See this? See how I didn't stop my head? I cut in really close there. See how I kind of turn a little pivot there? I'll adjust to where I think I want to go. And now I'm going to follow my wheel back. I'm going to center this like halfway down the machine. And I'm just going to watch this side of my machine. I'm not going to chase the line all over. Nice, steady speed. I'm just going to work it all the way back. We'll want to move that. Be somewhat accurate, and remember with any diamond tooling, we're gonna really just slow down and take our time and let that tool work and cut this fracture. Feel free to cut every little spider of this. We'll have so many comments on this video like, oh, when Diamond Coat does a job, it takes 22 guys. Well, they always think this is like our crew. They're always like, I've seen so many comments that people online think we just have the most inefficient crew in the world.
They're different every time.
Yeah, you must go through a lot of guys.
It's a government contract.
Yeah, it's government. Don't worry, it's your tax dollars at work. So a little bit about grinding. Did we use the edge grinder to cut in around everything? It looks like we still have a little bit of edging to do in here. Okay, that's fine. We'll use the 4.5 inch just to cut in here and around all our posts and whatnot. This is just a fine tool. You can use it because it's very safe to use. You can get into corners. You can get a lot of different shaped attachments for your corners and edges and stuff like that. Don't be lazy about, these are nice clean corners because Adrian does an awesome work. Nothing sucks worse than seeing a floor that's beautiful, but you have a border of like little exposed concrete. So remember, you don't want those highs. If it's 1/8 of an inch thick, that's thick enough to come through your coating. So be really accurate right up to that edge with your edging tool. If you can't get in a corner, use this fine tool. You're gonna wanna prime it first before you fill it with aggregate. So we're gonna take this little bottle and squirt it down all of our fractures, and that's gonna soak this fracture. Then we're gonna come back with our slurry and fill that in. This is a 1-to-1. Now this is our polyaspartic. Polyaspartic is not a polyurethane. That's not an epoxy. I'm gonna give it about a minute. Don't comb your beard with your hands if you have epoxy on them.
Do you time that? I mean,
yeah, you should. I'm counting 120 strokes. I've done that my whole life with everything. It was fun.
No comments from the females in the room.
Now, if we can get it to stack up in this joint, we can just overfill it. Sometimes you can get this to actually set in the joint thick enough to where we don't even have to come back and put a slurry or sand or anything in here. We'll see if we can do that. This also cures. Within about 2 hours, we could come in and grind this, so we could do all our prep in one day really easily if we were organized.
Today, all we're gonna do is we're gonna go up and grind off all our little high spots, the low spots we filled. We're gonna grind them off smooth. We're gonna practice with the 4.5 inch grinder, the 7 inch, and the walk behind grinder, just all 3 ways, making sure our floor is really profiled. And once we determine that all our edges are cleaned up, we don't have any little lips in our corners or anything, the floor is perfectly smooth, no low spots, we're gonna seal our floor. And that's what we do to every single porous substrate. Once we get it flat and we get our highs down and our lows filled, and as flat as we can get it by either sanding wood or grinding concrete with a diamond grinding tool of some sort, then we're gonna go on and always seal it, because every single time that you're getting bond strength, you're penetrating it, that's where most of your strength comes from in the first place. But really you're gonna be blocking air bubbles too. So anything you do, if you were to pour a heavy coat on top of that without sealing it, you'd have a ton of air. Always keep it moving. And that's a lot of extra stuff on the floor. There's probably 5 times more product down than we really need. See how I'm holding it really flat? I'm actually putting a little pressure towards the front because I don't want my tail to drop and start cutting cut marks into here. That's the #1 thing I see guys do, is this handle is a little bit of weight, and so they let it kind of push this back of the cup into the floor, and they're cutting this like groove all right here up against them that they don't see. So really just feel that levelness on the floor, and you should feel it really float really well. So there you are. And always, if you're wondering if you're smooth, run your hand across it. Nah, our seal coat will catch that because it's not going through. If I saw a hole in the bottom or something, I would. or all the part B into the A. This is a 4-gallon mix total for 2 of A and 2 of B. We put it in a 5-gallon pail, so you have a mixing pail every time, so you can just dump the entirety and that's on ratio. So we're gonna do this clear with a small amount of acetone.
That's how it was supposed to marinate,
Yeah, it is.
but this doesn't affect the dry.
So now you're gonna give it a full 3-minute mix right now. So somebody time 3 minutes.
Levi, you always put the 10% or 50% if it's really bad, but 10%, I mean, to every kit.
Yep, and this is only for priming. If you poured this really thick, it'd be really gummy because your chemical reaction would complete, but your evaporation of that acetone would not evaporate out. So if your chemical cure does complete in say 12 to 18 hours, and you still have acetone in there because you poured it really thick, you'll have a gummy surface. So this is really good, but only for sealing your slab, and it'll really soak into this concrete.
And it does affect the drying time.
Say what?
It does affect the drying time.
Only if you're pouring it too thick. So if this was to have, it won't because your acetone's gonna evaporate out very quickly. You saw how quick that evaporated out. Since we're gonna do it thin, it's gonna evaporate out slower than that because it is gonna be like a retarded evaporation process inside of the epoxy. So it's a little slower, but it's much faster than if we were to pour a flood coat. I'm gonna flat blade it into place, and then I'm gonna come back and cross roll. So we'll want one person on spikes at least with an 18-inch roller. And this might be more than we even need. You'll really see how it'll soak in. We're gonna target about like 200 to 300 square feet per gallon, but 200 is about as thick as you'll ever put this down. So we'll see, we might get the whole garage with this or more. We'll see, we might have to mix another half a kit, but I'm not worried. Yeah. Somebody grab a chip brush and don't let any of that out past that expansion joint, and just baby, I'll leave you a little pile like that right next to every one of those doorways there. And anything over that break, you have to roll. I can't push epoxy or else it'll flow over, overfill that expansion, and now we're spilling into our. So now I'm gonna do this, get my cut in. See, I'm just gonna, it's out about 3 inches from my base. I'm kind of just working it. Now, if you're going up against finished baseboards in a house, do not tape them. Just do this very slow, and you'll have a cleaner line than any caulk joint or anything like that. I do always run it all the way into there because I want a completely sealed base coat. This is going to stop bugs and everything from ever coming in. Yep. Yeah, you'll never have. So somebody will grab a little foam roller, some chip brushes. You guys will be working in these little back areas a little. See how I pushed it all in, and now I'm coming right back. If that's drywall, don't be scraping your drywall. You'll be knocking chunks into your floor. So, but see how I'm coming back and pulling that back out into my main floor? I pushed it all one direction. You have to learn how to angle your blade. Yep, exactly. Just pull that right back out of there. And I do want to stay very organized in here. You're good. Go all the way to your end. I want to keep this really square so we're organized coming across. That's how we'll be able to measure how many square feet we're getting out of our kits. So if you notice, I don't pour piles around and then just push piles out. I want to be pretty organized so that I know how far I'm going to get with it.
And at your rate, it's going to take you about 20 minutes to
Oh yeah.
trowel it on, you know?
Uh-huh. We're squeegeeing it all to our door, so any little debris isn't going to be debris anymore. And then it's going to be a rock-hard, dust-free surface. I just want to organize this, guys. I'm just trying to organize my cut in here. And you can cross-roll in any of that to smooth that out in those little tight areas.
Okay.
You're basically just finding any of my little thick squeegee piles that I left there. Yeah. All we're gonna be doing today is sanding the floor quickly and then priming it black. We'll grab a couple cut-in brushes, a little foam roller, stuff like that. We can have, let's not have everybody in on this floor. Have one person come under, work these stairs, in some of these areas. That actually cut in really well. If you guys just cut around it, it'll be fine. It's already starting to look like a flat freaking floor right there though, guys. See how you guys worked this kind of a long section here? That's a big no-no. That's how I say we stay organized, because now I'm stuck in a keyhole all the way out and around or on spikes. Nice and light. If I want more pressure, I don't push on it. I just go slower and it'll sink. It's like a boat on water. So it kind of goes up on plane. If you push too fast. Yeah, you could just slow it down. This is one of the smoothest application methods in the world for applying a coating like this.
Are you just making it up in your hand now?
Yeah. Trying to keep them slightly randomly placed and kind of in the same direction and not too equal of spacing between them. I don't want it to look like a absolute pattern, yeah.
Everything is done except for the one I'm working on.
Still the same angles?
Ish, but random again. This might actually be one of the prettier floors I've seen. This is crazy. This is where you like running that consistent speed really matters and being thoughtful of your pattern here. Let it kind of build up. You see how, I don't want to mix this too much or it'll be gray. It's too beautiful. Don't be afraid to spray this pretty darn heavy, but spray it continuously so you don't end up with just big droplets and fish eyes. But this is like giving me an incredible pattern here by washing it down.
So that'll take like little brush marks out right here?
Everything, it's just bubbles, all the little bubbles you see on top. This will just be a much smoother floor, and it'll really mute and matte, marbles everything. Really pour anything you want to self-level. Look at that, dude. Look at that front pile there. You see that?
So Levi, would you ever use 200 proof alcohol?
200 proof. I guess I would have, because this is 99%, so what's 200 proof turn into?
I don't know, but I use it for cleaning up.
You know, it probably has water, so it evaporates slower, and you wouldn't want it.